everyone, welcome to another Battle Tanks League commentary video. I'm about a minute late into this. That's because I forgot to turn on my mic, but it is on now. Yes, I can see my software saying that it is on. Hopefully you do see this on YouTube. I've had a few games recently where I've commentated them and they've either ended in a 20-minute or 30-minute draw, kind of lame, or or my own game has disconnected from battle.net, or I was having like rolling power outages in my neighborhood for a while last week. So I've made a few commentary videos recently, but I've been unable to upload them. And you just saw, I think, Gudgeon and ABS try to get the kill on Alrion there. Let me introduce the players. We have Gudgeon on the Dark Force with a Demolisher and a Basic Magic, accompanied by Escanor and a Raider with a Basic Magic, I would assume, yes, and ABS, and a Light Tank with a Light Plasma Gun. And then they are facing up against Hokuto, who is an anti-grav with a basic magic that he just upgraded. I assume that he bought a tech mech because I'm pretty sure you can upgrade the basic magic immediately if you random an anti-grav. They're accompanied by Alrion and a scout who's gotten a bombard rockets, and you can see on the minimap he does have a tech mech. He should be able to upgrade that bombard rockets right now, though he might try to save and get his second bombard rocket at the 5-minute mark. And then, interestingly enough, we have Greg, who is in a tinker, and instead of getting an energy torpedo, he got an electro cannon, which means he's definitely going to have to save gold for a tank very quickly, and he's also got to be careful that he doesn't die. I don't know why they're trying to target Hokuto, who's the most tanky of all three of these. Who was it? Gudgeon tried to hit him, or ABS tried to hit him with a triple rocket. They should really be going after grekagrek, make him use his teleport, and then, yep, here we go. Well played by Gudgeon there. He does die in return, though the Light Force got the kill and Gudgeon got his own kill, so that favored Gudgeon right there, and that was well played. That's exactly what they should be doing, and Greg should get a tank right about now. Let's see how much gold he has. He has 700 gold. He could even get a scout, but he'll probably try to save up for a helicopter or maybe even a medivac, though he is quite vulnerable right now, and he doesn't have that 1300 range surprise damage to ward these guys off. They can play very, very aggressive against him right now. Alrion has upgraded his bombard rockets, and Hokuto will save for a second weapon soon. Pikabar is at the top in a Raider for the Dark Force, and he is facing ShadowStorm, who is in a distributor with a basic magic. ShadowStorm is a decent player, but Pikabar is the #1 ranked player in the world, so we should expect him to push on ShadowStorm. And you can see that he did spec the what's it called, static charge, and he can use that to deal consistent damage to ShadowStorm and push ShadowStorm back to his own tower even this early on in the game. Looks like Alrion got a kill on Gudgeon. We have three kind of low-level players in the middle. Escanor is definitely the most experienced and the least bad of the three on this Dark Force mid here. Gudgeon is a pretty new player, and so is ABS. So let's see if Alrion and Hokuto and grekagrek, who are three, that is a better combination of players for the Light Force in the mid. Let's see if they can be really aggressive in the middle and put a lot of pressure on it. It's going to force Pikabar to play back a little bit, maybe get a shredder. For now, he's playing offense against ShadowStorm, trying to get a level advantage over him. Looks like Gudgeon just got another kill on grekagrek. Well done. It looks like he probably used that same combination of artillery shot and shockwave, and so grekagrek really needs a tank right now. He can get a helicopter. So maybe that's what he will do. And then meanwhile, on the bottom, we have Hellcat on the Dark Force. He's in a scout with an electro cannon that he's already upgraded. He is facing the TheClumsyOne, who is a Raider. As far as I know, both of these players are kind of mid-level players on the lane. And so this should be a pretty even matchup. Hellcat is able to push the TheClumsyOne for now, and that is because Hellcat has a lot more DPS in the form of the electro cannon as well as the Scout's own tank cannon. You can see it listed here. He has 471 to just 231. He was quite a bit too aggressive there against the TheClumsyOne. He needs creeps around to tank for him, and so TheClumsyOne was able to get a couple of static charges off and get the kill on Hellcat. Looks like Greg is remaining a tinker, and let's see if he finally gets a tank right now. He gets a hull, so he's going to keep the electro cannon and get a hull. This is really interesting. Usually as tinker you want the energy torpedo, not the electro cannon. The only time you get the electro cannon early on is if you want to change it immediately to a helicopter or something. So this is pretty interesting. Not the most common of builds, and probably not the most optimal of builds either. It has been 5 minutes into the game, so everybody's gotten their first Force Gold. You can see ABS has gotten his Light Plasma Gun upgraded and now has an Iron Hull. Gudgeon has a second basic magic, and Escanor is likely saving up for a second basic magic. He doesn't appear to have much gold right now. Pikabar has gotten a Star Shooter. That is a very good play against ShadowStorm for a couple of reasons. One is that it does extra damage versus ground tanks, so he does get more DPS per cost than with a second basic magic or other normal weapon, and also because the Star Shooter actually deals relatively low damage. It only does 78 damage, and so if ShadowStorm is trying to use up a lot of reactive armors in the fights, at most he can heal, or he is there's a chance that he will only heal 78 damage or 111 damage, as opposed to Pikabar getting a weapon such as an Electro Cannon, which does, I think, 210 damage, only healing 78 versus something like 210 or even 180 or 111 from a tank cannon or basic magic. That does make a difference in these fights, one-on-one lane fights, which tend to be pretty close. Pikabar's going to try to play more offense against ShadowStorm. ShadowStorm himself has a second basic magic, so he is making up for so he still is at a slight disadvantage in DPS because he can't get something like a tank cannon. He could get maybe a grenade launcher, but it looks like he is just getting the basic magic for now. Meanwhile, TheClumsyOne has gotten a second basic magic, and Hellcat has a hull, so he's probably not going to change tank yet. He might get something like a quick thunder tank, which would not be a bad play. That will allow him to hop into this middle and help out in the middle pretty quickly. And once again, Hokuto and Alrion are both very, very skilled players in the middle, and all three of these players are kind of low level. So this is the point of advantage for the Light Force here, and Pikabar and Hellcat are going to have to plan on hopping in, getting tanks that are good at hopping in, and support this middle here, try to get gank kills. They do try to be aggressive here on grekagrek. Grekagrek, of course, does have the hole now, so he was able to teleport out of the way before he took any significant damage, and he is healing back up now. Gudgeon tries to go after him once more, and so does ABS, using that bombard ability. I forget what it's called on the light tank Q. Escanor finally has his second basic magic. And yeah, continue being aggressive against all three of these players. They won't be able to hold that position indefinitely. Though Greg, if he's smart, that Tinker, if he's sitting in the strategic location, he gets an extra 15 hit points of healing per second, and so he can actually drop his hull and heal in just about 15 seconds and then reclaim his hull. Oh, he might die right there. Excellent play by Gudgeon, hitting him with the artillery shot and then following up with the shockwave. And Gudgeon has all of the kills for the Dark Force so far, so he's playing pretty decently. And let's see if they can start killing Greg's towers, make them have to abandon this excellent position in the middle. Oh! Here comes Pikabar from the top, trying to get a kill on Hokuto, who survives with about 20 hit points. ShadowStorm was following there anyways, so Pikabar definitely was going to die in that exchange. Let's see, it was just a question of whether he could get one kill out of it, and he didn't even do that. Light Tank Q goes off on Greg and his towers once again, and then Gudgeon misses the artillery shot. So Greg isn't going to die right there, but they are dealing a lot of damage to these towers. Maybe one or two more pushes and they can clear them out. Hellcat and the TheClumsyOne pretty similar in terms of leveling, despite the Hellcat getting a scout at the start. One thing you can do as a raider on a lane when you are faced up against a scout or sometimes a light tank, though most often a scout, is instead of opening with a basic magic, you can open with a multi-bow. That way, and then you use your static charge to deal damage to the enemy tank. And that will allow you to make up for the lack of DPS you start with as a raider compared to like a light tank or a scout. And then you can always sell that multi-bow whenever you're trying to get a good weapon such as Electro Cannon. So it is one strategy you can do. Gudgeon misses the artillery shot on Alrion. Alrion may have died, though he did have teammates supporting him there. Gudgeon's teammates weren't quite in position. Let's see if they can push these towers again, not let Greg build anymore. He still has 4 in the middle here, so this is a pretty secure spot for him to farm from. He doesn't have that much gold right now, only 1100. He has upgraded his electro cannon though. I think he would have been better off with the energy torpedo. All 3 of these tanks are pretty vulnerable. Pikabar going after ShadowStorm. He does have the support of creeps, but ShadowStorm is too close to his command post. He will flee. And the irony of Greg going Electro Cannon upgrade over Energy Torpedo is that he might actually be farming less, because you can see he's constantly having to flee. If he had the Energy Torpedo right there, he could maybe get a kill or 2 or force these back a little bit sooner. Looks like Pikabar and ShadowStorm killed each other on the top while I was looking at the middle here. But that Energy Torpedo is actually not the worst weapon when it comes to farming, even though it's very, very inefficient. It does tend to get the last hit on creeps most of the time, and so you can actually farm pretty consistently and be threatening to enemy tanks even as a tinker if you have the electro cannon or the energy torpedo, but instead he has the electro cannon, which makes him far less potent. Hokuto with an excellent anti-grav Q on all 3 of these players, and he's able to get the kill on ABS. He's going to try to jump in and kill Escanor with his W ability. He is able to flee, didn't quite reach Escanor there. And ABS now has a 2nd weapon, Escanor has a 3rd basic magic, and Gudgeon has an electric cannon in addition to this basic magic. He probably needs more hit points soon. They're going to go after grekagrek again. Greg teleports out of the way. That teleport does have something like a 40-second cooldown, and so he is a little bit vulnerable right now. Let's see if they can press on him. Gudgeon hits him. Let's see if he can finish off Hokuto. Hokuto jumps out of the way. He didn't hit Greg with that. They do get some free shots on the towers for now. Let's see how much gold Alrion has. Alrion has a 2nd weapon. He'll start saving up soon. Hokuto with another excellent Q on ABS. Almost gets the kill. And then it looks like Pikabar is starting to get some kills at the top. Just 2 so far, but he now has an iron hull and a 2nd star shooter. I'm kind of surprised that Pikabar didn't go with a repair kit instead of the iron hull, because the repair kit can be combined with the strength pack, or with the steel hull into a strength pack later into the game. The best this iron hull can upgrade to is a kinetic shield, which Pikabar might get in the future, but this will likely end up being a wasted slot that he will have to sell later in the game. And Raider is a tank that has enough hit points natively that it can work by getting a repair kit and not the hull yet. But for now, ShadowStorm's actually pressing on Pikabar. It's like Hellcat jumped into the middle and got a kill on Alrion. Did he change to a Thunder Tank? He did. So they're probably going to clear out Greg's towers now, and Greg does need to change tank. He gets a Thunder Tank himself. And now this middle does need to be aware of Hellcat, who can teleport in, and I wonder if Hellcat's going to get a teleporter as soon as he can. He's going to buy back his hull first. He can of course sell that hull whenever he needs a quick jump in gold to get something like a speed or a teleporter or another weapon. And let's see how aggressively Hellcat tries to play in the middle, or if he focuses more on his matchup with TheClumsyOne. Hokuto just got a kill. ABS and Gudgeon a little bit out of position there, and they're going to lose 2 kills for free. Right there in the middle. I was going to say if the TheClumsyOne's going to tank soon. Looks like he will. And TheClumsyOne does get a heavy tank, so that will probably keep Hellcat occupied on the bottom for now, because the TheClumsyOne does have, of course, those mortar teams that can put pressure on towers. Pikabar gets a kill on the ShadowStorm, and Gudgeon actually got a kill in the middle on Greg. And Hellcat's back here in the middle. They're going to not be able to put any more pressure on it, and like I said, Hellcat does have to be careful leaving the bottom for too long. TheClumsyOne doesn't have enough DPS to quickly clear out creep waves, but he does have the mortar team, so if he gets close to that tower, he will do a lot of damage, and he can also use both of his abilities, his Q and his Zar, to deal damage to the tech mech. They're going to go 4 on 3 at the top here. once again, and they get another kill on grek. ABS using a random Q a little bit late there. Doesn't even hit anybody. And here comes TheClumsyOne with his mortar teams. They're not very high leveled yet, and he doesn't have his R ability, so he can't deal anything super significant. He tries to use his rocket on Hellcat, and now he's a little bit in trouble because pikabar's coming after him with a lot of DPS, and pikabar has his own repair kit now. And you kind of think he could have gotten that repair kit first and then gotten a steel hull instead of that iron hull upgrade, but it looks like he's stuck with the iron hull upgrade. Oh well. Trying to go after Hokuto. ABS has to be careful because he can get stunned himself by grek. He is going to be able to flee. And then Gudgeon himself is a little bit vulnerable. He doesn't have a hole and he's going to die. Hokuto might die to pikabar right now. Yep, so this is 1-1. And Hellcat comes in, stuns grek. They're going to kill grek. So far this south team actually doing a little bit better than the north team. And they're already starting to use their tanks to hop in and get gank kills. Hellcat, as soon as he gets a teleporter, it looks like he has a speed for now. He's level 10, so he can be pretty potent. Pikabar, of course, has his own level 10 with the hit and run, which will briefly teleport him. And ShadowStorm is a little bit in trouble right now. Pikabar doesn't have his hit and run active, but he can maybe finish off ShadowStorm. ShadowStorm uses his reactive armor to counter the static charge just in time. Gudgeon gets a stun on grek and Hokuto, and Hellcat comes in and gets another stun on grek. And it looks like excellent combination there. Grek got stunned 3 times. And grek is starting to feed a little bit. TheClumsyOne comes in. He doesn't have his level 10 yet, so he's not super powerful. And let's see if anybody's saving up gold. ShadowStorm has gotten a repair kit, probably wise by him. He'll be able to survive pikabar's hit and runs that way, but he isn't saving up any significant amount of gold. Pikabar has a much more valuable inventory and a similar amount of saved gold, actually slightly more. And then TheClumsyOne, of course, already has a tank. Hellcat has a tank. I wonder if he's going to get a teleporter soon. And then Escanor, Gudgeon is saving up. ABS is saving up. Escanor is not quite saving up yet. He was struggling in farm earlier, so maybe that's continuing. grek has a tank. Hokuto is saving up a little bit, and Alrion has the most saved up so far. So you can maybe get a heavy tank soon or try to save up for a hunter. Right now this is 5-on-3, and they're going to get a 8th kill on grekagrek. Pikabar comes in with the hit and run, unable to reach anybody, and ShadowStorm doesn't have enough DPS to deal any significant damage to the tower in the meantime, and so Pikabar's kind of getting away with teleporting to the middle and getting out. And yeah, the little damage that ShadowStorm did to that tower, Pikabar's just going to repair. And so while ShadowStorm is able to safely save up, he is not nearly as useful right now as Pikabar is in terms of swinging fights in the middle. Let's see if TheClumsyOne can maybe get a speed and start pressing this bottom lane as well. Make it uncomfortable for Hellcat to teleport into the middle. He is level 10 now, so he does have a lot of DPS or heavy damaging ability. If they push too far into the middle, he can swing that fight, or he can start dealing damage to the tower and use his Q and his R to kill any tech mechs Hellcat might send in. Hellcat and Pikabar are both going to come in. Pikabar uses the hit and run. Let's see if he can repair himself in time. He gets stunned right before he uses the repair. And this was actually a pretty good response by the North team here. They still lose 2 people, but they get 1 kill in return. When you factor in the fact that each person who teleports into the middle costs their team 300 gold, 150 there, or 150 gold, sorry. Oh man, Gudgeon just got blocked by ABS and died to ShadowStorm. That was a free donation right there. 150 gold per person that teleports in, so if you teleport in 5 people against 3 and you only get an even trade or maybe even 1 kill, it might not actually be worth it. ABS gets a kill on grekagrek. Pikabar, can he get his hit and run off? Not quite. He took too much damage. And then somebody has a net. I wonder if it was Alrion. Somebody would just... oh no, it was Alrion using his own scout ability. And so they are able to get a couple of kills on the bottom team, though the Light Force did take both of them. Kind of unfortunate there. And Escanor and Pikabar do have to be very careful now because of Alrion's level 10 net ability. ShadowStorm and pikabar starting to save up gold. Hellcat going after the TheClumsyOne here. He does have a lot of DPS, and he is going to get the kill on the TheClumsyOne. And then who is this getting a tank? Alrion. Alrion gets a hunter at 20 minutes with no weapons. That's pretty fast. And these tanks are pretty vulnerable. 2,600 hit points. Only 2,200 hit points and only 3,400 hit points. So combination of abilities kills them. Gudgeon's going to get stunned. Let's see if Alrion can finish him off. A main gun can kill him right there. Use that main gun. Yep. He gets the kill. And Grek is a little bit vulnerable right now. He needs to be careful. TheClumsyOne is going to ward off Hellcat. And Hellcat might die to Alrion right now. He is able to get a kill on Grek. Grek stayed a little bit too long in that position. And TheClumsyOne also died. Couple of needless deaths trying to deal damage to Hellcat and Escanor there. I think Alrion was sufficient. And ABS is going to maybe get an Earth Robot. He's got to be careful he doesn't die to Hokuto. And he tinkered despite being under pressure. For anybody who doesn't know, you gotta sell your weapons in your hold before you doing that, and you especially don't change to tinker. If you're getting pressured, you just run back. And if you really needed to change to tinker to get a tank, you just gotta maybe not do that, or maybe just run back. Pikabar, of course, has a shredder now. He's going to die, and so is Escanor, and now Gudgeon is going to die. This is not going well for the South team all of a sudden for the Dark Force. And ABS is without a tank. And ABS has no weapons. He can get a Sky Tank if he wants. He can use his teleport. I don't know what he's trying to get, though. Maybe an Earth Robot. Pikabar is going to try to stay in this middle for now and protect them. Hokuto does have a teleport breaker. I wonder if Hellcat has a teleporter. Nobody does yet. But, but ABS does. If he teleports in, Hokuto... Let's see if he tries to teleport or if he runs... Oh, no! He teleports into Hokuto's breaker, and Hokuto gets a free kill. Alrion actually got the kill, but credit to Hokuto there putting that breaker for when ABS ran into that. ABS is quite vulnerable even if he hadn't teleported. Alrion, of course, has his gravity grenade and main gun, and ABS probably just needs to decide to get a different tank. Maybe a Sky Tank from this shop here. I don't think trying to get whatever he wants here is going to work out very well. Hellcat trying to deal damage to Hokuto, and now he's in trouble because he got phased out by Hokuto, and he cannot hide from Alrion's tank cannon, though he does have a couple of tanks there to share damage with him, but Alrion has his main gun back, and now this Light Force is getting quite a few kills. ShadowStorm still saving up gold, just kind of being passive, and then Pikabar is up top, and ABS does indeed try to change and get a Sky Tank instead of whatever he was planning on there. Pikabar and Gudgeon trying to team up to kill a Grek, and now he gets gravity grenaded, and Pikabar is the one to die in that exchange. Escanor might actually lose the ShadowStorm if he tries to kill him one-on-one, so he's got to be a bit careful. ShadowStorm can probably sit here unless Pikabar comes in. Pikabar's going to come in. Does he have his abilities off of recharge? Escanor, you got to use your hit and run now. Let's get this kill. ShadowStorm wasted his reactive armor on just a couple of Star Shooter shots. He's going to use his Repair Cat. Is anybody from the Light Force going to help in on this? That was a very long chase that somebody could have come in and swing. Looks like Hokuto has gotten a Ghost Tank. That's not what I would have expected out of him. I'm pretty sure Hokuto is more of a mid player, and Ghost is kind of a sieging tank, not the best in mid, so that's a very interesting decision for Hokuto to get. And let's see if they get Alrion right now. He is stunned by ABS, and Pikabar is going to try to pull him in. Alrion gets his gravity grenade off, only hitting Escanor, who's going to flee back. Alrion does have too many hit points for them to finish him off in time. Gudgeon has his weapons back. ABS can probably get one basic magic back. Does he not have a tech mech? He does have a tech mech. I don't know where he was going. Maybe he misrallied something. Maybe he rallied his tank to that shop instead of the tech mech. He's using it now to get the basic magic. The Ghost Tank is very interesting to me. Wonder if they'll maybe bring ShadowStorm into the middle, or even TheClumsyOne, or if they can try to maybe push one of these command posts, especially this one here, while pikabar is hopping into the middle too much. And then if they can take that and have Hokuto siege the base, that pretty much ends the game. The Ghost Tank is going to earn far too much gold and be far too much of a nuisance, and be able to spam armor upgrades from that position here. Alrion with a stray gravity grenade, nobody's there to follow it up. ShadowStorm has a mortar team on his Earth robot, so if pikabar does leave that middle or leave that lane for too long and try to hop into the middle, we can expect that top tower to fall, and then they can push this command post and have Hokuto siege from there. Gudgeon spawning some stray mortar teams. They're not going to do anything significant, and they're killed off by the TheClumsyOne anyway. And right now, neither team is really playing that aggressively. I feel like if Hokuto had a better tank, like maybe the Goblin Wrecker, or even if he was saving up all the way to a Frost robot, they'd be able to play far more aggressively. As of now, grek is a little bit too vulnerable, and Alrion is the only player on the Light Force here in the middle who can really deal any significant abilities. And if I'm the South team, ABS and Gudgeon, and whoever it is, Escanor finally gets a Hunter, I am stunning with the heavy tank and then following up immediately with the R from the heavy tank, as well as the energy bomb and the flame strike. And let's see if Escanor can trap Hokuto in his gravity grenade right now. He misses. Missed kill right there. It's like Hellcat got a kill on the TheClumsyOne at the top, and he has a lot of DPS. Can he finish off this tower? Nobody's in position to ward him off. Greg finally teleports in. He's going to get the kill on Hellcat. TheClumsyOne comes in and finishes the kill. But Hellcat just got this tower down. And so yeah, the South team, Gudgeon needs to initiate fights with the rocket, and then Escanor needs to immediately follow up with the Acid Cloud and Gravity Grenade for ABS to use the Flame Strike and Energy Bomb. So they can kill, especially the TheClumsyOne, and grek and Hokuto will be a little bit hard to trap since he's a flying tank, but he can still be slowed by the Acid Cloud, and he is relatively low on hit points. So trying to use mortar teams to siege this base here. Hellcat and pikabar team up to kill ShadowStorm. TheClumsyOne comes back, and so does Alrion. Alrion misses the gravity grenade and hit TheClumsyOne instead. And Hellcat has too many hit points to be finished off by the main gun. So a misplay there by Alrion. Grekagrek is a little bit vulnerable. Can they go after him? Grek tries to ward them off with a stun. Escanor finish him off. The Acid Cloud is going to get him. And Hokuto himself is a little bit vulnerable. Escanor, you got to pay attention and use your main gun, but though he's probably wisely trying to come back and deal with this command post that's being sieged. Earthquake and mortar teams go off. Hellcat built a teleport beacon at the bottom here while they were all trying to take that top command post. They are going to get a couple of kills, but then they immediately die when Alrion, ShadowStorm, and TheClumsyOne teleport in. grek did have to build a tower as well. For anybody who doesn't know, these Light Force towers are permanent, but any tower built by a player lasts only, I think it's either 3 or 5 minutes. And so any gold you spend on towers, you better make it useful right then, otherwise it's just wasted gold. And so if you're able to kill the Light Forces tower at a command post and force them to start building towers defensively of their own, that it's gold that you're making them spend, and gold that you can potentially earn even by killing their towers. Though even if you just let it expire, that's just wasted gold on their part. TheClumsyOne's going to use a rocket on Hellcat. Let's see if Greg is not fast enough to follow it up, and TheClumsyOne just uses his hail of bombs strayly. They still have this triple combination in the middle of aiming rocket, flame strike, and gravity grenade. It is a 4-on-3 right now. Where is Hellcat? Hellcat's going to try to siege the top. TheClumsyOne's probably going to respond now. Hellcat does have a kinetic shield and a burst armor. Interesting. Can he get this kill? Nearly. Now he does have to be careful. He takes an aiming rocket and he's going to take a gravity grenade, and he's going to die. He needs a teleporter to be able to escape that. Hellcat dies. They get a couple of stuns on grekagrek and a hail of bombs as well, and they're going to get a kill. Escanor's got to flee with his tech mech. His tech mech has 2 basic magics that he's got to give it to Escanor quickly. Pikabar is going to come in, get a kill on the TheClumsyOne. Pikabar already has a poison magic. And Alrion gets a free kill on ABS using his main gun. And now they've got to flee a little bit. Gudgeon's got to be careful that he doesn't die, because Greg probably has his abilities recharged at this point, and ShadowStorm is still at the top. He has a mortar team in case somebody tries to build a defensive tower, but and again, Gudgeon can stun Greg at any point, and they can follow through with it. Let's see if they have the chemistry. Again, these are kind of relatively low-level players for this Dark Force in the middle. But use that stun at any opportunity you can. Greg is vulnerable right now. Go after him. Hellcat gets a kill on the TheClumsyOne and then dodges Alrion's main gun. Alrion does have speed now, so we can maybe catch up to Hellcat. Hellcat barely survives. Pikabar is there to ward him off from any further pursuit. They're going to try to go after grekagrek, but they're ignoring ShadowStorm and the TheClumsyOne, who are taking this top command post. They really don't want to have this get taken because Hokuto can siege from here, and that was not good. All 3 of these players pursued the kill up top on Greg. They didn't even get the kill, but even if they had, that would have been a poor play, because they let ShadowStorm take that command post, and now you see Hokuto immediately move to this spot here. And Hokuto at this point probably doesn't even need to get any more weapons. He can upgrade that to a advanced troop command, maybe even sell this whole and get a second siege pack and upgrade this to a speed pack, and that's all he needs out of inventory. He doesn't need to take one-on-one fights with other tanks. He can just siege the base, earn gold that way, and spend all of his money on armor upgrades. Hellcat's trying to go after Hokuto right now. He uses his kinetic shield trying to get an extra little bit of hit points. He's a little bit vulnerable now. TheClumsyOne teleports in. TheClumsyOne barely able to get the kill on Hellcat there. And yeah, it's not looking good for this Dark Force right now. Gudgeon's now going to take another death, though so will Greg. Pikabar pulls in Alrion and gets stunned by the TheClumsyOne, and he's going to die. And Hokuto, meanwhile, is still sieging the base, earning gold. Gudgeon using a random hail of bombs to farm the creeps doesn't even hit the creeps. He really should be saving that for fights, not hitting the creeps at all. But then he didn't even hit the creeps. Kind of sad. Alrion catches all 3 of them in the gravity grenade. They're in the command post, so they're not going to die. Pikabar builds a teleport beacon. Alrion is a little bit out of position, as is Greg. How many people can they get in? Hellcat teleports in. Come on, third person get in here. It's 2v3. Gudgeon teleports in. Man, you would like a hail of bombs right now, wouldn't you, Gudgeon? Probably wouldn't have made it that much of a difference. They died too quickly. And Escanor with 3 basic magic doesn't have the ability to clear out these creeps ultra rapidly. And now this Dark Force is starting to lose a bit of gold just to these command post towers. Grekagrek looks like he's just going to try to suicide into the Dark Force base here. Though he might get caught by a Pikabar. He's got a long way to run. He's going to get stunned by Gudgeon. He's just going to take a death. Pikabar gets the kill. Greg was trying to run into the base here so that the Dark Force could get the kill, not any of the players. Hokuto beginning work on the base proper. He does have the Advanced Troop Command now, and the Advanced Troop Command, in addition to spamming a lot of troops and an aura creep, it also has a lower cooldown. I think the Siege Pack has a 50 second cooldown, and this has a 40-second cooldown, and it does stack with the Siege Pack, so he can sell the whole or sell one of his basic magics and get a second Siege Pack. And that way he can really, really quickly clear out buildings. Alrion gets another kill, and they are pressing this middle now pretty heavily. Let's see if they start trying to work on this tower. It does have a repair module on it. I wonder if Gudgeon put that on there, or ABS. And it looks like I completely missed this, as did the Light Force. But they took 1 command post of their own. They don't have a ghost tank of their own to siege. And so this Light Force definitely has the advantage right now. Escanor catches 2 people in his gravity grenade. ABS doesn't look like he spec'd the Flame Strike. He spec'd the W ability more. It seems a bit unwise. It's much less strong, and everybody on this Light Force is ground tanks, so there was no need to get the W. Hokuto's going to spawn more troops. Probably going to wait for Pikabar to not be in immediate position to deal with them. Though even if Hokuto doesn't have to take an actual fight with Pikabar to occupy Pikabar. He can just be a nuisance running around, and he's probably happy with the fact that Pikabar is wasting a lot of his time just running around rather than getting kills. He could teleport here, and Gudgeon could stun Greg, and they could get a kill right now. Let's see if they try that. Greg is fleeing. Alrion's going to get another kill in the middle. Alrion himself is getting quite fed now. He has a deflective armor upgrade to counter Pikabar's Goblin Shredder. As a hunter, I probably would have gotten an orbital strike before doing that, but he is very tanky with that. Deflective armor is not going to do that much against a hunter's tank cannon or an artillery. You can see him try to, I don't know what he was trying to do there, maybe get a cheeky kill on Gudgeon, but Pikabar draws him in and everybody teleports onto him. The fact that like 4 people teleported in costs the Dark Force 600 gold, so that's gold that they have to subtract from the bounty they earned from killing Alrion like that. Probably was only necessary for 2 people to teleport in. Greg's a little bit vulnerable. Can Escanor and ABS get the kill? Pikabar's also there. ShadowStorm's going to tunnel in the midst of them, and now he is a bit vulnerable. But everybody's going to have to go back if this Dark Force stays for too long. Somebody can teleport in. Hellcat's the one to teleport in from the Dark Force. Where is Alrion? There's Alrion. Can he get the kill on Escanor? Uses the Acid Cloud. Escanor's got a... Alrion misses his gravity grenade, and now he actually might die to Pikabar. That deflective armor probably saving him there, and Pikabar dies. ShadowStorm also dies. ShadowStorm is 1 volley away from dying, but he's able to reach the healer and get out of there. He actually comes back to get a kill on Hellcat. Or sorry, Greg, I mean, not ShadowStorm. And ABS has to be careful. He can't hide from Alrion, even though he gets the flame strike off on him. Two more shots from that hunter, and yeah, he goes down. Escanor gets him with the main gun. Hokuto still with a ghost tank. He doesn't have any gold right now, so I wonder if he's gotten armor upgrades. 9 and 12, 8 and 8. So Hokuto's already gotten 5 armor upgrades at 40 minutes. So putting in work to help his team that way. And Greg is going to die. His burst armor upgrade does counter the gravity grenade, and actually Alrion gets 2 kills out of that exchange. So this is not not going that well for the South team. For the Dark Force, I mean. Hokuto and Alrion. Alrion does have his orbital strike now. Able to deal a lot of damage to Pikabar and kill him. Nearly kill Hellcat as well. And they're starting to break into the space. As soon as this laser tower goes down, these factories are very, very vulnerable. Here they come for another push. Alrion is 15 seconds away from another gravity grenade. But once he does have that in charge, Pikabar is a little bit vulnerable. Despite having 2 poison magics in there, he takes the gravity grenade. And Hellcat is not going to deal enough to Alrion. Alrion still has that orbital control, remember. Let's see if he uses it on the tower here, or any tanks that try to come in. For now, they're going to let these mortar teams siege the base. And that laser tower is now down. Next push likely kills a factory, if they're able to kill Pikabar like that. Greg is a little bit vulnerable. Remember, he does have that burst armor upgrade, which can tank a lot of damage. Not that time. And he is going to die. Escanor and ABS are going to heal up. And while it is impressive that you can take 2 people down to 20% of their health, 1v2, that doesn't make it a wise play. You still gave them gold. And they finally do kill Hokuto. Hellcat and Pikabar teaming up. And Hokuto has now bought 6 total armor upgrades. So that's 9,000 gold that he's spent by 43 minutes. Pretty impressive. And like I said, he doesn't really need an inventory to be a nuisance. He can keep Hellcat or Pikabar completely occupied despite his lack of raw combat ability. Or I shouldn't say ability, but firepower. Haha! Hellcat teleports into the teleport breaker. Hokuto tries to spawn troops on him, but they spawn on the other side of the trees. Oh, that was unfortunate. Definitely would have gotten the kill on Hellcat otherwise. Let's see if Gudgeon falls for this teleport breaker as well. Trying to team up to get a kill on Greg right now. They're able to get the kill, they gotta get back. Orbital strike and gravity grenade go off on Alrion. Pikabar takes an aiming rocket, and the hail bombs misses. Gudgeon with a lot of electric cannons. I think 3 is a little bit too many because he's going to have to start selling those if he wants to further upgrade his heavy tank. Though maybe he'll just start saving up gold. Hokuto with a kill on Hellcat. Let's see if he takes the opportunity to push a factory. Pikabar is there to ward him off. That does make this middle vulnerable because they can make it 3-on-2. Maybe even push this tower. Pikabar can't be everywhere at once, and Hellcat's still dead. Wonder if they can even get a net launcher. Alrion just misses his gravity grenade right there. And now they're a little bit vulnerable. Hellcat using his kinetic shield, countered by the orbital strike. TheClumsyOne barely surviving that. Takes a main gun from Escanor, and Hellcat's going to die before he kills Alrion. Though pikabar, they did get a kill on the TheClumsyOne in the meantime, or on grekagrek. And now ShadowStorm comes in. He has a poison magic. He has a lot of DPS. He can't use his earthquake on ABS, but he gets 2 kills anyway. And meanwhile, Hokuto is still at the bottom here. Doesn't quite push any factories. TheClumsyOne also has the deflective armor to counter pikabar's 2 poison magics. Deflective armor can block at most 60 damage, so that deals 60% of these, or that blocks 60% of these poison magics if they're at close range. I don't know what range the deflective armor has that maxes it out, if it's like 500 or 100. They're going to try to get a kill on grekagrek right there. And meanwhile, they're going to get a kill on the top. ShadowStorm and Alrion teaming up. And it looks like we're going to pause. So if you're the South team, the Dark Force, how do you win from this? It's very difficult, because even though they're similar in kills, you got to keep in mind that at this point Alrion has gotten probably 7 or 8 armor upgrades, and so when it's time to tank at the 55-minute mark or the hour mark, they're not going to have somebody spend 9,000 gold on getting armor upgrades, and so they can either get tanks earlier, or they can have 2 people get really big tanks at maybe 55 minutes, compared to only 1 person getting a big tank at 55 minutes. So there is kind of a timer on this Dark Force here. They've got to really swing the net worth around in the next 10-15 minutes. And how do they do that? It's very annoying, because Hokuto is going to stay on that top lane, sieging the base, and the only people that can reliably deal damage to him are Pikabar and Hellcat, and Pikabar and Hellcat are not the people you want wasting their time dancing around with Hokuto. They need to be helping out in the middle, trying to get gank kills, and if they're occupied with Hokuto, then at most it's going to be an even game in the middle. But with that said, the middle with Alrion and the TheClumsyOne and ShadowStorm is, and even Grek, though Grek is feeding quite a bit, they are getting an advantage in the middle here if left alone. And so Pikabar and Hellcat, I'm not sure what they do. They've got to be very judicious with which fights they want to take and how they use their time. And if you're ABS and Escanor and whoever it is, Gudgeon, you gotta, I guess, use that triple combination. Try to farm kills in the middle and stay safe. You've only got 10 minutes to swing this net worth around, enough to get late game tanks. And the worst thing that can start happening is for Hokuto to be left alone and start killing factories, because that will give everybody a gold advantage on the North team, and it will make this troop swarm even more exacerbated. And with the lack of troops from the Dark Force, they're going to start pushing the middle and the bottom command posts, just from sheer numbers of troops and their armor upgrades. Pikabar might be a little bit frustrated as well that everybody went and got deflective armors. And so he only does about 2/3 of damage to them in a typical situation. But perhaps what I'm not doing as the North team, unless you get a very opportune moment on somebody who's pushing too far like Gudgeon, is focus on this bottom lane here. I think that's the least of their priorities. They should be focusing on either helping Hokuto push, leaving him alone, and trying to distract him with a strong push in the middle that deals pressure to this tower, or just straight up committing all 5 people to this middle command post here. Though it is possible that they're trying to push this command post here to deny the South team access to tanks in the future. They do have 3 people here, Alrion, TheClumsyOne, and ShadowStorm. Will they teleport back? They're going to get a build. Alrion gets a build off. Escanor is going to use a gravity grenade and an orbital strike. He's going to kill ShadowStorm, and somebody's going to have to teleport out. TheClumsyOne teleports out, and now pikabar is in here, and so is Hellcat. Greg is a little bit late, but he still gets 2 kills, and it's 1 tank in the tower versus 2 tanks. And Greg is unable to finish off Hellcat, and pikabar gets a build to ensure that it's not taken. Hokuto didn't have his troops in time to start dealing damage to these factories, and Hellcat and Escanor come in. Hokuto has dealt about 60% of damage to that front laser tower as well, the middle laser tower, I should say. And how did Hellcat die? Troops? Ghosts? I guess so. Wonder if Hellcat was looking elsewhere and just forgot about his tank taking damage. They're going to go after the TheClumsyOne. TheClumsyOne can teleport out of the way, but not if he's stunned, and pikabar himself is a little bit stunned. Pikabar goes down, that's 1-1. Alrion is a little bit vulnerable, he dies. Good defense by the Dark Force here. They're going to get 3 kills to 1, it looks like. Gudgeon barely survives. Keep in mind that anytime even they get favorable trades, Hokuto does have time to siege the base, and he's taken out now 60% of this bottom middle tower and the top middle tower. So now 3 factories are vulnerable, and as soon as this tower goes down, the 4th will be vulnerable. He does need to start actually killing factories, though, before the enemy team gets strong tanks and starts pushing. Let's see if anybody's already saving up for tanks. TheClumsyOne has a couple of 1,000 gold. Greg has 5,000 gold. Gudgeon has almost 5,000 gold. Escanor doesn't need to tank for now. ABS has a couple 1,000 gold. He has a lot of DPS as well. Not a lot of hit points. And pikabar has almost no gold. And Hellcat has 6,000 gold. So we'll see some tanks at maybe 55 minutes at the earliest. We do have a couple of people saving on each team. They are pushing this middle now. Hellcat and pikabar and ABS are the only ones left. ABS does have Vidar's artilleries that will ignore the TheClumsyOne's towers and only focus on tanks, which is nice. Though right now they might want to kill this tower and get their own build. Hokuto comes in with a bunch of troops to take damage. Now ShadowStorm's here. Gudgeon is kind of foolishly trying to pursue Hokuto, ends up healing Hokuto instead. ShadowStorm gets a final kill and build. Escanor is the only one here. He doesn't have any DPS against this barricade here, and they're going to take the middle. And that's even worse for this Dark Force. And now Hokuto has even more access to the base. And let's see if they can take away this command post here and deny pikabar or not pikabar, Gudgeon and Hellcat their ability to get late game tanks. Trying to deal some damage to the tower and decide which command post to go for, and pikabar steps a little bit too far forward and instantly dies. And now they might start pushing here. Escanor's down. This is now a 3-on-3 with laser tower. Gudgeon gets 1 kill. Hellcat nearly dies. And ShadowStorm does finally get a kill on him. Remember, they do have this laser tower here dealing damage and tanking damage. Hokuto's going to arrive in. Greg has a Goliath. That's pretty much going to secure this command post here, even though it doesn't have any weapons. And actually, pikabar might hold this just because Greg doesn't have any weapons. They might finish off the clumsy one here, especially with that orbital strike, and let's see if they even kill Greg. Alright, so the South team still does have the advantage, and Greg needs to get some weapons back, but they already have a Goliath. And of course, nobody probably needed to do any other extra armor upgrades because they're already at 18, just from Hokuto upgrading alone. So TheClumsyOne, ShadowStorm is not tanking anytime soon. He has a gold hole and that deflective armor, so he is pretty secure right now. Hokuto, even more gold to be gained from these towers at the bottom. Hokuto planting another teleport breaker. He has had success with those all game. And Greg has one weapon back so far. Gudgeon's a little bit out of position, as is Hellcat. They can mount a pretty concerted offense here on pikabar right now if they can get an instant kill on pikabar. Pikabar teleports out of the way. And this is the command post you want to take. Alrion misses the gravity grenade, so does Escanor though. And now Alrion, of course, has that deflective armor. He has a fire magic as a hunter, which is interesting. And they're probably going to try to take this top command post, deny this the Dark Force any access to this tank construction hall. Escanor dies, Hellcat dies, and now it's just ABS, and he doesn't have enough to deal any significant damage. Gudgeon has conquered a control point. He probably should have helped out with that fight there after conquering the control point. He dies instead. And now they only have one command post here. And if you're the Light Force, start planting teleport breakers. Oh, actually, they do have this control point here with easy access to this tank construction hall. Though maybe not for long, especially if they teleport in one by one. ShadowStorm has a lot of DPS in the deflective armor. Greg has a lot of tankiness. TheClumsyOne barely teleports out of the way. Pikabar can't pursue him because he has to stay here, and Gudgeon's going to die almost instantly. Escanor traps 3 people in his own gravity grenade. Hellcat uses a chain lightning. ShadowStorm does get a build, so it looks like they will still take this command post here. Greg misses his Devastator rockets, and they're going to get one more build with Alrion, a laser tower. And so now the Dark Force is down to 1 command post. They're down 2 factories, and they don't have easy access to the tank construction hall. So I wouldn't be surprised. 3 factories now. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave up at this point. Is anybody even close to tanking? Hellcat, no. Gudgeon, no. Pikabar, no. Escanor, no. Nobody has the gold to tank immediately. ABS doesn't either. So yeah, mount an offensive against this command post, plant some breakers. They do have a lot of people with gold holes and this Goliath here. Pikabar's trying to get a kill on Alrion, who gets a build, and Pikabar dies instead. Alrion survives, and ShadowStorm teleports or tunnels in, and they do give up. Yeah, they were definitely losing that game, and well played by the North team, or by the Light Force, for securing this command post and then getting good trades in the middle, and then completely neutralizing Pikabar by targeting him down at every fight, and also getting the deflective armor upgrades. Probably frustrated Pikabar to no end. Pikabar didn't even finish with a positive KD ratio. So well played there by the Light Force. This has been Titan Music with another Battle Tanks League commentary. I always love doing these. Titan Music out.